What's up, you guys? Keith here, of course. What you're about to hear is a sneak peek of the kind of stuff the hardcore listeners are getting over on the Patreon feed. This episode in particular covers my top 10 games of the year so far, and I also talk about a special format change coming later in the year. If you want episodes like this and more, head on over to patreon.com/themainquest. There's a link in the show notes, and I hope to see you there. Enjoy the preview. I realized something this year, and it's that I don't break out my Sega Saturn nearly enough. You know, between prepping for Virtua Racing Deluxe and playing Sega Rally and Daytona USA, playing Steam Hearts, and having to revisit Sonic R for Retro Hangover, I ended up hitting a few other Sega Saturn games, and one of those was Virtua Fighter 2. Nothing very deep about Virtua Fighter 2. It runs smoother than the first game, looks better. Its simplicity makes it very easy just to pick up and play. It's just got that good old-fashioned Sega arcade feel. It's like often imitated, never duplicated. It's that AM2, baby. And honestly, that's kind of the type of game I really needed to play between these bigger projects. So yeah, I'll probably talk about this a lot more in depth in the future, because I'll be doing an episode on it, so I guess stay tuned for that. When I think about this next game, I just think about how Mario Sunshine walked and twisted its ankle and fell and collapsed on the ground so that this game could run. And this is Power Wash Simulator. And this is one of those games that I kept hearing about when it came out. And at the time, I thought, hey, that sounds really tedious. Who would want to play that? So naturally, one of the first games that I bought this year was Power Wash Simulator. I just needed something that wasn't taxing on the senses, something with a low barrier of entry that wasn't going to feel like a total grind. Something that I could just turn my brain off and decompress. And that's exactly what Power Wash Simulator is. Cleaning a skate park or a fire truck is surprisingly satisfying. At this point, you can get this game pretty cheap, and it includes all of the DLC. I still haven't cleaned Midgar. I will, eventually. I haven't touched the game in a few months. It's been a while, but because the stakes are so low and because it's designed to be played at your own pace, it's the kind of thing that you can always just come back to when you need that very specific experience. It's not a game that you play start to finish. It's a game that you revisit, maybe for years, or until the sequel is released, which I think is coming up. Exzodiac is another game I've heard a lot about, but never got around to until now. It's basically a spiritual successor to Star Fox, but it is also just a little bit more than that. At first, I was kind of put off by how it controls, but I think that's just because I went in with I guess the muscle memory of Star Fox or Panzer Dragoon. And Exzodiac is a little different. It's a lot tighter than those games. Your reaction time has to be on point, otherwise it's going to punish you. But there are some really cool nods to other franchises baked in here, beyond the obvious Star Fox homage. The game's been in early development for, feels like forever, but what's available now already feels very solid. In a lot of ways, it feels like a complete game. So I'm curious to see what the finished product is even going to look like. And of course, just like Metal Gear, I recently released a written review of Exzodiac. So if you want something a little more formal, you want kind of more of a in-depth breakdown, I suppose, you can go seek that out. And we are here for the final game